Hi, this is Mrs. Kidman, and in this video, we're going to be talking about multiplying polynomials again, but this time we're going to be talking about how to do it using the FOIL method. Now, the FOIL method is the most common method that people use when they are multiplying polynomials. The reason why we call it the FOIL method is because we do different parts of our expressions. So F here stands for first. So what that means is when I'm multiplying my polynomials, so say I had x plus 2 times x plus 3, the first says I'm going to take this term and multiply it by this term. So first. The next one that we're looking at here is O stands for outside. So then I'm going to multiply my outside numbers. So I'm going to take the x, this plus 3, so they're on the outside of both of them, and I'm going to multiply those ones together. The I here stands for the inside numbers. And so the inside numbers, of course, are going to be our 2 right here and our x, and we're going to multiply those two together. And then the L here stands for our last two numbers. So that is the case where we multiply our, not that one, where we multiply our 2 and our plus 3. So when we do this, we're going to multiply those terms and then write out what they're going to be. So let's take a look at this first example to see how that FOIL method works. So we are going to be using the FOIL method. So first, outside, inside, last. That's what FOIL stands for. So let's take a look at this. Let's multiply my first number. So I'm going to do this number times this number. And that's going to give me x squared, right? My first two terms. The next term that I'm going to do are my outside terms. So I'm going to do my x times my plus 5. So what is x times 5? Well, that's going to be 5x. Then we do our inside terms. So my 2 times my x. And that gives me 2x, and then 2 times 5, which gives me 10. Now notice how what we really did here is I took my first term and I multiplied it by both of those last terms. So this is a lot like that distributing method, except for instead of using the distributing method and writing out that whole step, I'm going to skip that step and I'm just going to say I'm going to do this first term times the other first term, and then the first term times the outside term. That's why a lot of people prefer this method, because you don't have to draw that box. You don't have to write out that expression again before you distribute it. We can just go straight from being given the problem, copying it down, to getting that step before we simplify them. This is why a lot of people like the FOIL method. If those other two methods are ones you prefer, awesome, do it that way. For the sake of this class and the remainder of the videos for chapter 2, anytime we have to multiply two polynomials, I am going to be using the FOIL method. So let's finish out this FOIL method here. X squared plus 5x plus 2x plus 10, that 5x and that 2x are like terms. So we're going to simplify them and we get x squared plus 7x plus 10. Now notice, this is the third time we've done this problem. So with the FOIL method, we get x squared plus 7x plus 10. When we do the factoring method, we get x squared plus 7x plus 10. Notice how here it's just like we had multiplied it like this and then like this. That's our FOIL method. It's just like that distributive method, but instead we don't have to write this middle step. And then we have our matrix method, which is exactly what it's doing. This number times this number, this number times this number, this number times this number. So when we do the matrix, we don't necessarily go in that FOIL order, but we're still doing that same thing. So all of these different methods will always work. They'll give us the same solution. It's just up to you. So for the sake of this video, we're going to practice using that FOIL method again. So remember, FOIL stands for first, outside, inside, last. So for the sake of this, just like in the previous videos, I want you to go ahead and pause the video here. Take a second, try to do this number 5 all on your own. Then once you've done the best that you can, unpause the video. I will have a worked out solution that I'll walk you through, and we can see how your solution compares to this one. Okay, hopefully you have the chance to look over that. Remember, FOIL means outside, it means first, outside, inside, last. So that's exactly how I multiplied it. I did my first term here, which is m times the m and got m squared. Then I did m times the -7 and got -7m. And then I did my inside, so -3 times m and get -3m, and then the last two and got that 21. Remember, a negative times a negative is a positive. Then we combine those like terms and we end up with m squared minus 10m plus 21. Now I love this method because it's so much less writing, and as you know about me and other people in math, we're kind of lazy. We don't like to write as much. So this is a great method to use. I do want you to draw those arrows every single time throughout this chapter. Anytime we have to multiply, draw those arrows. That's how you show your work here. First, outside, inside, last. That shows me what you're doing instead of having to write out all those steps. So take a second, remember to draw your arrows on this one, and I want you to use the FOIL method again for number 6. Pause the video now and come back. Okay, welcome back. So again, we used this FOIL method on number 6. I drew my arrows. So first, outside, inside, last. I multiplied my numbers. N times n squared is n cubed. 3 times n is 3n. 2 times n squared is 2n squared. And 2 times 3 is 6. So here we are with our numbers there. Now, I did not have any terms that were like. Remember, like means the same variable and the same exponent. So the only thing I did from here to here is I actually just wrote it in standard form. So I moved this 2n to being second and this 3n to being third because the n squared has a higher degree than that 3n. Otherwise, that's all we had to do. So much less work than those other methods, although those other methods were great. So as you start on your assignment, which is going to be in the textbook, your assignment is page 73, 3 through 43. So as you start on your assignment, remember, you can use one of these 3 methods, but for every problem on your assignment, if it says multiply, you can use the FOIL method every time, or the matrix method every time, or the distributing method every time. Your choice. Good luck on your assignment. If you need any help, feel free to reach out to me either over Canvas message, over email, or come in during PAC.